Thank you, Nikki.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Is Tara from her phone? Or is she just not? All of you are muted. Is it allowing you to unmute? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as everybody gets on, we'll get started and go into executive session.
Is Casey, is that Karen's?
Ball?
Yeah,
I don't know.
you might be coming home from work. That's what I said. I don't see, is Sarah here? I don't see Sarah.
Tara was here and then she's here now, but no picture.
No, I'm talking about Sarah.
No, here comes
Yeah,
Sarah.
here she is.
She's in there, yep.
Okay, we have Sarah.
Sorry, folks.
No, that's all right. We're still missing Tara and Karen Cabral.
Tara's on.
Sarah's on.
I'm here.
I don't see you.
That's why I question if Casey's iPhone is Karen, because she may be coming home from work.
Ryan, can you see if that's Karen?
This is McBride. I'm going to ask Casey's iPhone to unmute in case it is, but I cannot tell who definitively they are.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Karen?
Hi, my name is Genevieve Ferrara. I'm
Oh, I'm sorry, Genevieve. We thought you were somebody else. I apologize.
No, that's perfectly all right. I figured this meeting was open to the public.
It's not open for public comment, so
Okay, so are
we
we
thought
allowed
maybe you were a member of the school committee, and I apologize for that.
the decision happen then?
Nothing's happened.
I mean watching the meeting.
You can continue to watch the meeting, yes.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't know if it was open to public. I'm an arts educator, so I was quite invested last week, and I just wanted
Okay,
to.
see, it's not open to the public. It's only open to the public to watch us have our discussion. Ryan,
Oh,
would
I
you
didn't mean-
mute
I
Casey,
definitely-
please?
I definitely.
Nikki, you're upside down.
Your camera sideways.
Okay, I see Sarah, I see Tara.
Marge, Karen is in, Karen Cabral.
Karen's on the executive
She's
side.
in executive.
So Marge, why don't we open the meeting and go into executive? You've got a quorum.
All right. I'd like to open the meeting and I'd like a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll be back by 7 o'clock. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you back in executive session.
It's saying this is live streaming on YouTube.
I think you're only missing Ms. Cabral.
Yes, I was waiting for her. Thank you.
She's on, she's on.
All right. Everybody's here. 1, 2. I don't see Tara.
She's here.
Oh, all right. All right, since it's 7 o'clock, would everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I need a motion to seal the minutes of the executive session, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, signify by aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. We have no disclosure tonight of executive session votes because we didn't take any executive session votes. So we'll move on to the action items. The first item is the approval of non-renewal of certified teachers. I need a motion to accept this approval.
So moved.
I need a second. Thank you, Karen. Now we'll have discussion. Most of you are muted, so you need to unmute. School committee members, that is. Okay, go. The floor is yours. Do you want me to go around the table again, like I did last time? I can do that.
Madam Chair, there doesn't seem to be any discussion on this motion, so I think you can take a vote.
All right, all those
Oh,
in
Carly,
favor?
I'm sorry, now I see Ms. Reich.
Yes, Carly, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared, and also to express that I wish there had been space again for public comment. I know that in the past, the motions that I've made have fallen on deaf ears, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I did want to thank and acknowledge the continued phone calls and emails that I have received from our community over the last week. I have fallen woefully behind. Please know that I have read all of your emails, even though I haven't been able to respond. We find ourselves in a similar position like this year after year. Budget shortfall, insufficient funding, our dedicated district admin work long hours to come up with unpalatable cuts. And educators have to deal with the fear and uncertainty of pink slips and potential losses of job and security. Our students lose teachers, meaningful programs are cut, sports have to work with less, and resentments grow. This is not working, but every year I hope that this year might be different. I want better for our community and our students, and our stakeholders deserve better. Our taxing structure doesn't work for schools. The funding formula doesn't work for schools. We are hamstrung by outdated and inefficient laws. I want to press the issue with our legislators and press for action, but I can't do it alone. If we forced a crisis and didn't pass a balanced budget, this conversation could start in earnest. We must start building coalitions between our communities within the East Bay and beyond to voice our displeasure and demand change. Our legislators can amend or overturn legislation around the tax increase limits law and to rewrite the funding formula so that it actually works, makes sense, and doesn't just result in continued decreases in aid year after year. Over the last 18 months, we've all been through so much. And as years pass and traumas and stressors continue to build and increase, we expect more from our schools. We need more from our schools. We need more academic support. We need more social emotional support, and we need more time, and we need more training, and we need more art. We cannot keep asking more for our schools while giving them less. I'm sick and tired of accepting this year after year. I commit to our school community that I will work and fight and agitate to get what we need for students and families. There are many passionate families and parents that have organized and continue to do so for the common goal of changing the culture around school funding. And I'm grateful for their dedication and work. We must keep speaking up. Our kids deserve it. We cannot afford to do this malignant dance for one more budget cycle. I don't want to vote for this budget, not because I don't believe in our district's ability to lead or their ability to do their jobs, but quite the contrary. I do not wish to invalidate the tremendous amount of work, negotiating, bridge building, and the process that has brought with this, and this is a small victory. I don't want our students and staff to lose out or suffer. I don't want my friends and neighbors to lose their jobs. As a school committee member, I feel bound by duty to pass a budget that spreads the weight and burden around more evenly and equitably. And last week, that is what all of the members of the school committee did. We sat down with Dr. Bryce and Dr. Santa and worked out just that. But I do not feel the duty to do so calmly, quietly, or passively. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Anybody else? Hearing no one else, I'd like to take a voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Tara? Carly?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Nikki? Aaron? Sheila? Karen?
Aye.
Vic?
I'm all set. Aye.
All right, the motion passes 9-0. Thank you very much. This is I think Mrs. Reich said it very eloquently. The second action item is the approval of the FY22 budget cuts. I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second. All right, now we have discussion. Anybody like to talk about this?
Is Dr. Bryce going to do a presentation about it?
Yes, yes, he is. Would you like to wait till after? Okay, Dr. Bryce, you're on.
Madam Chair, thank you. I would ask that Rose or Ryan put up the PowerPoint.
I'm sorry, Dr. Bryce, I don't have a copy of that.
I can put it up, Dr. Bryce, if you'd like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Santa.
While we wait to get that up, let me start out by saying thank you to everyone in the community that emailed, that sent information, that asked questions. It was a really tough week. And so we need to admit how difficult the week has been as we have been working to reach the type of consensus needed in order to get the budget presentable for our school committee members. The other thing I'd like to, or the other group that I would like to thank, I'd like to thank all of the staff that worked so incredibly. We were calling people at all hours of the day in the evening, and they were accessible and providing information. Certainly the school committee was very accessible, and thank you for all of your work, right? So it's 9 members, it's trying to build consensus. What I can tell you is that no one is going to be overwhelmed and completely happy with this budget, nor should they be. I think Mrs. Reich's comments earlier are exactly appropriate. But however, we all recognize that we have a job to do, and our job is to make sure that we have a balanced budget for FY22. And so we are working to do that. The last thing I can tell you is that our focus is on spreading those decisions across the entire district. And it's really difficult to do, but we believe that we've been able to do that in a measured way. that allows us to focus on some key things. Number one is we want to focus on making sure that our focus remains on academics. We want to make sure that we're able to have core programming where it needs to be. That does not mean that any of the programming that supports the core academics are any less important, but certainly in a budget where you don't have as much money as you absolutely need, there are going to be places where you have to sacrifice. Let me get into it right now. I'm going to go to slide number 2.
Just a minute.
Okay.
It does it differently. There we go.
Got it. All right. And so as we know, the JFC provided us an allocation of a 3% increase in local funding. We also know that that increase would still result in a $2.3 million deficit. And so here are some of the steps that we've taken to address that. Certainly, we look at things like enrollment, student academics, and behavioral data. We look at the work that we're doing with our strategic plan, and we want to prioritize good first instruction for all students. We look at requirements from the state and the feds, as well as a review of departmental and school staffing and budgets, contracted services. And we also, because we had the operational review, there were recommendations from that we took into account. We also know that we have ESSA funding in the amount of about $6 million. The state has only shared with school districts on Thursday how we are able to utilize those funds. 25% are for summer enrichment, and this is just about $1.9 million. 25% are for summer enrichment, 50% are for year-long academic achievement, and the remaining can be utilized for other expenses, including one-time capital expenses. And that information will be shared at a later school committee meeting as we prepare for the work that we're going to do this summer. Next slide, please. Couple of things that we want everyone to just think about and why the FY22 budget process must be different. So one of the things that we know is that we have declining student enrollment. We know that state and local funding does not keep pace with the cost of district staffing and operations. One of the things that people say, well, you know what, if your student enrollment is going down, why are staffing and other costs going up? And those are clearly something that we need to address. We also know that we want to hire a CFO and a district financial team to review all operations to find efficiencies. But we also know that we're not going to find efficiencies that are going to solve all of the issues with our budget. So this issue of the way schools are funded, the way regional schools are funded is critically important and certainly needs to be addressed and looked at, not just by our community, but by elected officials as well. We also need to make sure that we are operating classes where we are getting the optimal amount of student enrollment. And so that means that we're not going to be able, and so let me repeat this, we're not going to be able to operate courses that do not have 15 or more students enrolled. And so that's primarily at the high school. But what does this mean? What it means is that some of the courses that will not be able to operate, not because of budget issues, but because of enrollment, are some of the courses that our students like maybe AP chemistry, AP government. But we know that we had a pre-calculus course that we were going to operate with Roger Williams. It only had a small number of students. And so we've had to make the really tough decision that we can't operate we cannot operate courses without a minimum number of students. And we think the right number is approximately 15. Next slide, please. All right, so in terms of our focus.
Dr. Bryce, just a minute. I apologize. It looks like it skipped a slide.
Okay.
1 minute. Sorry about that.
Okay. Thank you. So at the district level, we know that we are eliminating the role of the Director of Educational Technology. We certainly recognize that staff capacity has been built during distance learning, with all of our teachers operating in some mode of distance learning, beginning back in March, and then migrating to other modes, either hybrid, full distance, or in person later in the school year. We are also eliminating the role of network manager. That position is currently vacant, as well as the elimination of the role of the assistant facilities director. Next. We had a previous decision where we were going to eliminate the carrier position that goes around and brings materials and mail to each of the schools. We are no longer going to take that action. We are going to eliminate the child outreach screener service. That work will be conducted by and completed by school staff. We also, based on the operational review, plan on eliminating the role of the benefits clerk, and that position will then be changed into a benefits coordinator position as recommended by the external report. Also, we talk about the reduction of the secondary special ed coordinator, and that is critically important along with this next position. Next slide, please. Eliminate the resource intervention specialist. We are in the process of changing the way that our student services / special education department operates. And what that will mean is that we will eliminate those positions. We will move to a director, assistant director position if the school committee approves that decision. Lastly, the next two, the elimination of the SEL consultant, who has been exceedingly helpful and supporting the district as we built programs at KMS and at Hugh Cole, schools that previously had some significant concerns that were certainly addressed by the staff within the buildings. When I speak with principals have been very supportive of the idea of being able to handle this. But we also know that if additional support is necessary, we could utilize ESSA funds to support that. And then lastly, the elimination of the role of the dean. It was a part-time position at KMS. KMS is fully staffed this year with a principal and 2 assistant principals. One of those assistant principals provides a level of service and support, both academic and behavioral, that would supersede the work that the dean does. At the district level, next slide, total salaries and benefit reductions are $584,149 for a FTE count of 5.0. Next department, I believe, is elementary. At the elementary level, we start with eliminating, and let me preface my comments about the elementary. Of all the decisions that we have to make, in every decision, we agonize, we think about it, we play it over in our head to see, is there something different that we could do? Here is the commitment that I am making to the school committee. I'm making it publicly, that we are going to very closely monitor these specific grades at these specific schools. So grade 2 at Cole Andrews, grade 5 at Cole Andrews, grade 4 at Hugh Cole. We're going to monitor them to make sure that we are able to operate if they are right at the projected maximum enrollment. We want to make sure that sometime in the summer, if we get a huge influx of new students, that we would be able to handle that. And if we are not able to handle that within the cap, then we would have to do something such as add another teacher. So the reason why we have will monitor is because we are absolutely going to monitor those particular grade levels at those schools. And that's something that we typically do every year. Next slide. We also talk about the reduction of a reading specialist at Rockwell, and certainly that is being reduced by 50% on the operating budget, and we expect to utilize ESSA funds to backfill that other 50%. We also will make a reduction of a 0.5 special education role at Rockwell. I certainly, people started sharing with me earlier today that they were concerned about that reduction. Certainly with the work that we're doing with special education, what we want to do is we want to be flexible with our special education staff. And most importantly, we want to make sure that all of our students receive the special education services that they deserve and that are required by law in their individual education plan. And so we are going to work to make sure that in the 3 elementary schools, we are able to have a case management process where we are supporting all 3 of the schools with the 6 staff that we will have left. We also talk, and I'm going to do these 3 together. We have made reductions in art, music, and library at Hugh Cole. And part of the reason why we're making these reductions is because we want to make sure that in areas where staff do not have a full schedule, that we are addressing that and are able to support other work and other needs that are present within the school and within the district. Next
Dr.
slide.
Bryce, excuse me 1 minute. I'm receiving a message that the sharing has been paused. I'm wondering if our IT can help. Are you still able to see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay. Because I cannot see it, but
Rose, Ryan.
I can see it.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to make sure. Diane, Dr. Santa, can you go to the next slide, please?
hold on just a minute. Slight pause, continue talking for just a minute. Let me.
Okay. So we also know that previously we had a reduction in special education at Coat Andrews. We have eliminated that reduction. After that, we are focused on health and PE. We are making minor reductions to health and PE at both Coat Andrews and Hugh Cole. We are very mindful of the 100 minutes of PE that all students need to receive, and we are going to make sure that they receive it. And we're going to do that based on the schedule. We are also eliminating one clerk at Hugh Cole. We are not eliminating a clerk at Coat Andrews. We are eliminating a teacher assistant from both Coat Andrews and Kateras. And we are no longer eliminating a custodian or a 0.5 custodian from Coat Andrews. If you go to the total reduction slide for elementary, total reductions for elementary, 638,303, 9.0 FTEs. Middle school. All right, so at this point, I am going to explain, and then I need Principal Morrell to be available because he's going to weigh in and do a better explanation. So here's what we're doing at the middle school. At the middle school, we are eliminating 4 teacher positions. And here's the details. 1 is a vacant position, 2 are retirements, 1 teacher is likely to be displaced across English language arts, math, social studies, and science. The plan is that we are reducing from 12 homerooms to 10 homerooms. That grade 6 teams, and there are 3 teams, remain unchanged. That there will be 2 to 3 teams in both grade 7 and grade 8, with one of those teams able to serve several 7th grade classes and several 8th grade classes, but they will not be mixing students. Principal Morrell, I don't know if you have anything else to add about that.
No, Dr. Bryce, you handled it pretty well. So technically we'll have, I like to look at it as 2.5 teams per grade level in 7 and 8. So like a mini team, and you handle it well with 10 homerooms. So we will be able to accommodate all of the students in grades 7 and 8 with the amount of teachers that you're recommending.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
The next slide. So this is also a slide that we spent some time in a position. Certainly, we got a lot of feedback. So our initial decision was that we were going to eliminate one of the music teachers at KMS. We are now going to change from an elimination to a reduction. So it is a reduction of 0.5 in music at KMS. What it does is it maintains the other 2 full-time teachers and, more importantly, programmatic decisions around band and chorus. So band and chorus will still operate. What it gives us is a 0.5 position that Principal Morrell, his administrative team, and the staff are going to use for a new elective or new co-curricular at KMS if the school committee approves, which will allow students to have more choice in terms of the co-curricular activities they participate in. We are going to eliminate 2 teacher assistant positions at KMS and reduce one of the custodians at KMS by 0.5. The total reductions at KMS in salaries and benefits, $428,585 and 7 FTEs. On to high school. At the high school level, we are reducing social studies. Initially, we were going to eliminate social studies. We now are not going to do, I think we were doing an initial reduction. We're no longer going to do that reduction. And so what that does at the social studies level at Mount Hope is it preserves 1 AP course. So we're going to be able to add another section to that AP course, and other qualifying electives will be able to operate. For theater, we are reducing theater from a 1.0. We are reducing it to a 0.4. It preserves the theater program. So let me say this again. It preserves the theater program. So our students during the day that want to participate in theater will have that as an opportunity. They also will have an opportunity to participate in theater after school. All right, so we preserved it during the day, and we also have the opportunity to continue theater after school via the stipend process. We also are eliminating one of the programs, child development program at Mount Hope, and we believe that is part of our longer term budget sustainability plan. Next slide, please. The elimination of 1 clerk at the high school, reducing the custodian 0.5, and we also reduced in extended day. Initially, we were going to cut that. It was about 44,000. We have reduced that to 22,000, but our focus is going to be working with Dr. DiBiase, her team, school staff, to see whether or not we can expand the extended day supports for students, potentially through ESSA. Next slide. Total reductions at the high school level, salary and benefits, 193,217, 2.5 FTEs. In terms of other, here are places where there are other budgetary savings or reductions. So reduction in contractual services of 352,450. Complete the Chromebook lease payment. So we're paying off Chromebook leases of 281, reductions in software and subscriptions, and those assessments are being reimbursed by RIDE, so that's 50,000. Reduction in general office supplies as we shift from print to more digital resources and communications, 14.9. Keep going. A reduction in programming and supplies and materials for athletics at $30,000. Eliminating supplies for the child development program, 3,800. A shift in funding for robotics supplies to a grant, 7,500. and reduce print supplies for elementary literacy supplemental materials, $15,840. And we also want to eliminate back to school supplies for elementary students. And so certainly when you see something like this, everyone wants to stop a moment and say, are we supporting our youngest learners? Are we going to make sure that our students have the necessary supplies when they return to school? And certainly we know that we get an overwhelming amount of support and help from families and PTOs. And so we believe that that will be covered as well. Next slide, please. We initially had a reduction in extracurricular activities. We did not absolutely keep that at this moment. We have eliminated a professional development for Project Lead the Way because the training was already completed. So that's an additional savings of $2,250. We have reduced technology equipment based on reassessment of need for $63,300. And the proposed relocation of central offices, anticipated savings in utilities and maintenance, $64,000. Next slide, total reductions, approximately $904,540. So those are the reductions. Let's now talk about the additions. And so the following positions have been added to enhance programs and optimize operational efficiency. So first and foremost, we know that the operational report indicated the need to have a really strong CFO, controller, budget process in the district. And so bringing on the financial controller, we are planning on delaying the start of that position until October 1. So it would be $90,000 with a full year's salary. It would be higher, but certainly you need these positions to make sure that we are able to operate as efficiently as possible. Benefits coordinator for $90,000. As I spoke earlier, there was a benefits clerk. The operational review recommended that we remove that position from where it currently is and make that a position certainly that is reporting to the head of HR, but one that is confidential and not in a bargaining unit. Facilities clerk, a recommendation for $62,583. Also, we spoke earlier about the assistant special education director, which was the reason why we saw at the district level, so the elimination of certain positions. So the total cost for that position, salary and benefits, would be $62,500 to operating, $62,500 to grant. And then the 0.5 position at KMS, that would be co-curricular. I have an idea of what it's going to be. Principal Morrell, do you want to tell people what you're thinking right now? Or do you feel like it locks you in to too much of a decision?
I'd rather wait if that's okay with you, because I have some ideas and we're floating them. But I just want to thank you. If this can be possible, this would really help me a lot.
You got it. All right. So I'm gonna hold on. Right. It's like a present. I'm gonna hold on it, but we're really excited about the possibilities. So with that, I am going to stop and ask and turn it back over to Madam Chair. I think we can stop presenting now.
Questions, everybody? Anybody have any questions? Yes, Carly.
Are community members able to ask any questions at this point, or just school committee members?
Just school committee. I did not put public comment on the agenda. Yes, Nikki.
I have a couple of questions. I think anyway, I was wondering if you could explain what the theater program will look like, and the same for the music program, what you envision those looking like at the high and the middle school, please.
Yep. All right. So I'll start with the theater program. So the expectation is that there will be 2 theater-related courses operating each semester. One of those courses will be a semester course. It is likely to be tech theater, the one semester, and then the second semester, public speaking. The course that will operate in both semesters will be what we're taking to calling acting, the actor studio, which is really what they've been doing in previous years, where we have students in acting 1 and acting 2 working together. And even though they have different, they may have signed up for a different level of the course, they're working together under the direction of the teacher for their particular focus for their course. And so some of it is aligned and congruent, and in some cases they'll be doing things different, although they're all together in the same class. So that is theater. And don't forget, we also have theater after school, and that will continue. At KMS, in terms of music, here's the expectation. The expectation is that they're going to operate both band and chorus. They will have fewer sections of band and chorus. What they will do, what the administration will do with the other sections that previously would have been devoted to band and chorus, is they will utilize those sections for the new co-curricular that they are working through right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Seeing no one, I'm going to call for a vote. Please just raise your hand. All in favor?
I'm sorry, before that, if we're done, I have something that I would like to say.
More than welcome to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted, again, as the others have said, thank everybody for their engagement with this, and to urge everyone to not let the momentum die. Because otherwise, as I said last week, we'll be back here again in a year. The Joint Finance Committee did make a commitment to meet more often and sooner in this process. So please reach out to them and remind them and urge them to have a public conversation about how we fund our schools, because it's not working. And I don't want to be back here year after year. And the sort of advocacy that we've seen from the community has been so inspiring. I really, really hope that it continue. But for this year, we are where we are. And as I said last week, no matter where we land, we're going to lose multiple exceptional educators, and every student in the district will be affected. So for this reason, over the last week, we've definitely been in solutions mode. For me personally, I've had to focus on programming, how to maintain as many programs as we can and minimize student impact. So as Dr. Bryce said, one way to look at this is programs with enrollment that's below the 15-person recommended number. And I believe, I could be wrong, but in the case of theater programming, it was obvious that even if there were classes that didn't meet the 15, there's more than just that number to drive our thinking. The program is critical for our students, and it's critical for our community as a whole. And I believe that this new plan, as presented by the superintendent, acknowledges that. The KMS music program is another one that's incredible. It serves over 400 students a year, and it needs to be sustained. And losing a third of our music educators would have made that difficult, if not impossible. So this new plan also acknowledges that. I still have all of the same concerns as I'm sure everyone in the community about some of the cuts to our special education and SEL supports. But I have spoken at length with our district leadership, and I feel confident that there's a plan to make sure that the impact on these populations that need those services will be as little as possible. I'm concerned about class sizes at the elementary school, like you all are, but as Dr. Bryce says, we have a plan to be agile over the summer, depending on enrollment numbers. So this new plan, again, I think acknowledges the concerns and comes to us with solutions. None of the people who work for the district are expendable. None of the tech or supplies even are expendable. But I do believe that the hard work of district leadership in collaboration with the members of this committee has led us to this, the best possible outcome given the circumstances in which we find ourselves. So I was elected into this position to work with this group, to compromise and to collaborate and to provide the best education for all of our students, even when that's really hard. I've asked all of the questions that I have, and I've received all of the information that I need. So for that reason, this week, I will be voting for this proposal.
Thank you, Nikki. Sarah. Sarah, you're muted.
Thank you. I wanted to talk directly to the folks in the district who are going to be affected by this budget. That's students and teachers, support staff, administrators, and parents. It's everyone. And I think that the negotiations and the decision making and the work and the time and the effort that went into this last grueling week, going over line by line and teasing out the nitty-gritty of trying to do the best for every student, but all students at the same time, is really hard, grueling work. All the emails and the phone calls and everything that came from the community, I felt so heartened to see the support for arts education in our district, because it doesn't always show through. I remain an ardent believer in the necessity, the intrinsic value of offering a vibrant and varied range of opportunities for students in public education, in public schools. We can't expect to attract and keep students in our district without that. And the academic and social emotional benefits of including arts education are indisputable. I know I can't listen to a teenager tell me theater saved my life and not be affected by that. But the reality of our financial situation is that we are being forced to make such difficult decisions. There's no painless way to cut $2.3 million. Sitting here and facing this vote, I hope everybody knows that their voices were heard and their emails were read. And even though it's no secret that this committee is divided on a lot of issues, the people making this decision are not unaffected by your communications, your outreach. This is one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. I hope the fact that I'm sitting here and the 8 other people on this committee, that they're sitting here, I hope that shows how deeply committed we are to the well-being of this school district. I don't want to vote to cut anyone's job or take away any students' opportunities, but we have to take steps to fix our financial situation. My heart broke a little coming to this decision. I don't think we have any other choice though. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Carly?
I just want to reiterate what Mrs. Piper and Mrs. Bullard have just said. And since I'm all for honesty and openness, I got a little nervous at the beginning of the meeting and I should have delivered my spiel now, not earlier. But I'm so grateful for all the work and the time and the communication. And I'll give some other folks a chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Yes, Erin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to echo everything that has been said so far. I think Mrs. Bullard really hit the nail on the head. It's a tough night. It's a tough time every year. I think this year is extraordinarily difficult given the amount of cuts and all of the outreach that we have received. The one thing I am happy about tonight is to be able to say that since last Monday night, after hearing from parents, teachers, and so many incredible and brave students, the superintendent, the district administration, and this school committee came together to collaborate, to figure out what we could do here, to go back, to have another look at things, and to listen to the voices that came out so that we could identify cuts and find creative solutions that would have the least impact on our students, because our students always have to be our primary focus, always, in every single thing that we do, whether we agree or disagree on this committee. I'm also heartened that we were able to find a way to preserve our important and essential performing arts program. I know that it's going to look different, but I know that students will be able to have those same opportunities that they have had. I'm glad that we have been able to add half of that third music position back into KMS. You know, no cuts are ideal. No cuts come without impact. They're certainly never, ever easy. We're talking about human beings here. But we as a school committee, we have this responsibility and this duty to pass a budget. This duty to look at the now, to see what we can do, to look to the future and see how we can sustain ourselves. And as unideal as cuts may be, I feel confident at this point, after all of this work and in an extraordinarily challenging budget season, that this budget will allow us to move forward and continue to honor and value our students' interests and passions, to keep them first, and to provide at the same time needed interventions and move forward towards that academic excellence that we do and must seek collectively. So I just want to say thank you to this committee that is often split, for coming together and doing the hard work so that we could be here tonight and not be sitting in the same situation, but to be in a place where we thoughtfully and creatively have done the best work that we can do under these circumstances, and will hopefully move forward in a more healthy way with the students, as I said, at the forefront of all of our work always. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Anybody else? Hearing, yes, Tara.
So I do want to say that a lot of work went into this week, but I don't think that the work is over. So I do agree that all of these cuts are hard. I think since regionalization, we've been dealing with the same thing that we're dealing with tonight. This has been a story that's played over and over and 1,000 times. But I want to make it clear, I am in favor of these cuts, but I still do not feel comfortable with the budget. One thing that we did learn this week was that our budget process is not efficient or clear. And one example is that when we asked for departments line by line budgets, there's none. I had to go back to a budget from the 1920 school year for one department. So that's my point, is that we could have enough money in our budget to bring all of these programs back. We don't know that right now, but now the work begins. So now we can look at these things and have a final budget by August 1st. And it is the responsibility to make sure we clean up our accounts and that we fix our spending processes and that we go through these departments and we see if there is additional funding that we were not aware of. So I am going to vote for this, but to me, this is not the final budget. There is still work to be done.
Thank you, Tara. Yes, Mr. Cabral.
I think we all did a great job of coming together with this budget. But I think we should also acknowledge the work, the efforts that Mrs. Ellsworth put in. I mean, she did more time on this budget and still is working on the budget. So I think we should at least, I mean, we all helped out, but she was the instrumental person who did all the work in this thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cabral. Thank you, Mrs. Ellsworth. Thank you, everybody, for the work that you did this week. It was long, it was hard, it was tiring. It wasn't always happy, but I'm grateful to all of you for taking the time to participate. And with that, I'm going to ask for a hand vote on this motion. All in favor signify by raising your hand. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a rough night, and we'll get back together soon. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Good night, everybody. Thank you.